Hi Emily, this is your grandpa, and this is a little video I have made for your trip to Manhattan with your Grammy and me. When we arrived in New York City, we tried to find the Marriott Hotel, but take a look at the construction. It didn't look like any hotel to us, and then the entrance to the hotel over here was just really hard to find. But once we got into the hotel, the room looked mighty fine. Remember that night we had dinners at Junior's restaurant, and we were surprised at the size of the coffee cups. And then after dinner we took that night tour, and here you and Grammy are standing up in the hop-on hop-off bus right in Times Square, and this is the Brooklyn Bridge that we saw from the tour bus. And then as the tour progressed, it got darker and darker, and so this is the lower Manhattan skyline here from Brooklyn, and of course over here, that is the Empire State Building. And then we got back to Times Square, and we noticed these bleachers up here, and just so many people sitting there watching all the people going by. And it looks like these guys are watching everybody too, even though they're not real. And then next morning we took a tour of downtown Manhattan, and remember this needle and button there represented the fact that we were in the garment district. And over here, this is the Empire State Building. And we passed by Macy's department store right here, and this one was called the Flatiron Building. And here's the United States Courthouse. Boy, did that look big. Your Grammy and I have been on a lot of ships that are run through the Canard Line. Here you are walking along a fence. This was really strange for us, wasn't it? The New York Police Department observation post up there on top of a truck. And then this is the McDonald's in Chinatown, and you can tell, look at the writing right there. And this is the beginning of the Manhattan Bridge over there. Then we had lunch at a New York deli. And you really didn't care for this particular pizza right here, but these Half Moon cookies, which they called black and whites in New York City, looked awful appetizing. Then we stopped by Tower 1 at the 9/11 Memorial. That is now the tallest building in the world, or at least in the United States. And then we took a ride out to the Statue of Liberty, and we walked right up to this pedestal right here. And here's you and Grammy in front of the Statue of Liberty, and you got a picture of me from the pedestal with downtown Manhattan right behind us. And we went to see The Lion King. Wasn't that super? Boy, that was the most spectacular Broadway production. You and Grammy went to dinner at Junior's restaurant after that, and I went to bed. Okay, here you are next morning in a comfy hotel bed. And so on June 18th, we took a tour of Upper Manhattan, but it was really hot that day. This right here is the Juilliard School of Music. And right here, this was where John Lennon, one of the Beatles, was murdered. And this is Abraham Lincoln out in front of the Historical Society Museum. And this is the Apollo Theater, where so many people got their start in jazz and blues. And this right here is the front entrance of the largest cathedral in the United States. And over here, this right here is Duke Ellington. And I can remember when I was in college, I stood right here at the piano, this far away from him while he was playing, when he played at Ithaca College, where your Grammy and I went. And this right here, this is where Jackie Onassis, she had remarried after she was the wife of the President of the United States. This is the Guggenheim Museum, a really, really strange art museum that would have been fun to go to. And this is their big art museum. And oh, this is your favorite place to eat. Remember, we had lunch there to start with, and then we had dinner there as well. And oh, we can never forget the speedboat ride, the Beast. This is a nice picture taken of us before we got soaked. And then we had dinner at the American Girl store. And this is sort of cute right here with a flower pot. And remember, they had a doll that ate with us at the table. And there's your Grammy. And boy, your Grammy and I really liked the food there. It was the best food we had in New York City. And there you are with a Volkswagen. And these are a couple of views at Rockefeller Center that we passed by as we walked back to the hotel. And isn't this weird? Right at Times Square. Okay, the next morning we started out with a horse and carriage ride in Central Park. And here you are at this fountain, and these people here in the back are rowing a boat. And this was our driver. And then afterwards, we had lunch at Lindy's restaurant. And this is one of your Grammy's favorite when she was in college. And oh, this cheesecake was so good. It was just as she remembered. And remember how the huge sandwich. And then we went on to the Empire State Building. And I don't have any pictures of the virtual helicopter ride. But here we are outside waiting to go in, and you were acting like this fella right here, and then you're holding your arm up like the Statue of Liberty. When we got to the top of the Empire State Building, it was pretty wet. And then here's our last look at Times Square. Look at the crowd down here. And our very last adventure was going to the Ripley's Believe It or Not Auditorium. That was fun. I hope you enjoyed this show.